Hello, everyone. My name is Jayan Benjamin, and welcome to our webinar series From University to the Job Market. Thank you for joining us in the month of October, where we provide a guide on how to succeed in university and what needs to be done to appeal to the job market. For more information regarding upcoming events and webinars, join our subscription list or go to our website, shapeyourfuture.us. So without further ado, today we will be talking to Tyler Joseph, who recently graduated from the University of the Western Cape. Thank you for joining us, Tyler.
No problem.
Okay, so our first question is, what tips or advice could you give to students in university or even in high school on how they can succeed?
I would say one of the first things is your circle. Your circle is very important because I feel like there are two types of circles. There are the circles that just want to have fun in university. We all know that. And it's okay for a certain amount of time in university. You can get away with it. But come your second year, you're going to need a circle that pushes you to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but they push you to be better and they push you to work hard. So I feel like your circle is one of the most important and also underrated things that people don't really acknowledge when going to university.
No, I definitely agree. And it's good to have people that can help you with the work, because sometimes the workload can be a lot. And having people to share that with takes some stress off of your shoulders because you have people to share it with.
It's one of the best things to have a circle where you can share the workload, and certain people make notes, certain people can even tutor you where you don't understand and give you different perspectives. So yes, a good circle is very important.
Okay, and what would you say, what advice would you give for maintaining good grades and producing good quality work or assignments? Because a lot of people struggle with that kind of balance.
Timing is very important. Planning your week, your days, just even if you, for instance, in your day, you plan to do 2 modules of work for 1 hour. Planning gets you through everything, your assignments, starting ahead, not the night before, because you'll have very big assignments. So yes, just make sure you figure out how to plan really well.
And in terms of like studying, like in note-taking, and what have you found is
note-taking? In first year and second year, I found having a file, a ring binder, was actually really helpful for each module. So to stay organized and stay up to date. With COVID, it was a bit different because obviously we didn't have in-class learning and stuff like that. So for a bit, I was a bit unorganized, but yes, staying organized and note-taking in class, even if you record, you first ask your lecturer if you can record the class, but yes, recording classes, listening back, and for things that you might have missed out on. Don't try to take down the whole PowerPoint in the class. Maybe take pictures of it and then take what the lecturer says down, and yeah.
So for the most part, you really need to get down those basics of like organization, timing, because studying, or from what I'm getting from you saying, the studying part is the easy part. It's planning out what you're doing.
Yes, like making the time to actually sit down and study is the important part, because you do get overwhelmed with different emails coming through telling you what you need to do and what you have to hand in and what test is coming up. So planning is very important.
Very true. I know myself, when everything starts building up, then you just feel so overwhelmed and you almost like shut down, because You just
Yes.
don't want to
You get
deal with it.
burnt out completely, where you don't even acknowledge the emails anymore, and it just starts building and building, especially towards the end of terms.
Yeah.
So you'll think you have your feet, you found your feet in the beginning, and then it just comes out of nowhere.
Okay, so what did you say are some of the challenges students may face when transitioning from high school to university in your own experience?
Okay, in my experience, I come from a very small school, also an IEB school. So in IEB school, you get sort of told and it's drilled into you that you will cope well with university because of the curriculum, but adjusting to university is difficult either way. No matter what school that you come from, you need to get used to new people, bigger classes. It's just a completely different environment. So you also need to get used to just being a number amongst people. Coming from a small school, you know, where every teacher knows your name, knows your personality. So even adjusting to that, where you would have to personally go up to a lecturer and consult with them for them to know who you really are and what you're struggling with. So yeah, I would say that that was one of the difficult things for me at first, was just adjusting to being a number and blending into the class, and also trying to make your personality known, where you ask questions and stuff like that, where your lecturers sort of recognize you in class.
Yeah, I definitely understand, because also when you start applying for jobs, people want the references, they want referrals, and the lecturers are the people you're going to get them from. And it's not that easy to go up to somebody after class, because the lecturer just wants to get out of there, and now you are there like,
and you feel bad for like bothering them, because you know they're busy, because some of them are actual lawyers or have actual work outside of lecturing, so you feel really bad for taking up their time. But most of them really don't mind. They want to know you better, and it's nice when you have that lecturer that is just very passionate and wants their students to do well. Okay, another challenge is also not giving in to your friends. You'll find, depending on what university you go to, I obviously go to UWC, where Dominoes is a big thing, and you can easily get into that habit of saying, oh, I'll go to the next class, or I'll go to the second class, and spending all your time in the cafeteria. So just sticking to your schedule and actually going to your classes is actually quite challenging, because you have a lot of freedom in university, and it's your responsibility to get your work done and do what you need to do. One more thing that I would say was a challenge was also getting to know new people. There's a lot of different personalities that you'll be faced with, people that necessarily won't like you, that will like you, that you don't gel with. So, and you don't find it out immediately, you find it out as you go along. So sort of just sticking to who you are and not trying to adapt so that you fit in with a certain crowd or allow people to make you feel any type of way about yourself. So yeah, just being confident in who you are is also quite a challenge in the beginning, but if you get it right, you will be fine.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because we're also at that stage where you are finding yourself. I mean, you're like in your early 20s and nobody knows who they are, because you just came from high school where you tried to fit in and you got used to your group, and now you're like in a completely different group. Because I had a similar like situation where coming from my high school to UWC, it was a culture shock. I'm not gonna lie, it was a culture shock. Okay, so what is something that you wish you knew before starting university?
That people always say university is going to be the most fun experience that you'll get, and there are going to be a lot of days where it's not fun, where you'll find yourself very overwhelmed and drained and not knowing what you're going to do after university, and no one prepares you for that after university feeling where you don't know what's next, and it can give you a lot of anxiety because the years go by very quickly. It seems like it's going to take forever, but it goes by very quickly. So just getting yourself ready for after university is also a big thing, because you're becoming an adult and no one tells you what you go through when becoming an adult, and your mental health during university can take such a big toll if you don't sort of keep track of where your head's at and look after yourself and have a balanced, it's very difficult to have a balanced life, but if you try your best to have a balanced life and take the time to relax and give yourself a break when you feel burnt out, it can be very difficult and take a toll on everything. So I think I wish that I knew, or I wish that I was better prepared for the bad days. I wish that I was a bit better prepared for my degree ending. But I've had to do it myself. So I've figured it out, and I think that was also a good thing, having to learn that on your own.
That's very true, because in high school, they just tell you, like, these are the things, these are the marks that you need to get. But when you actually get there, you don't have that stability, that support that you had in high school, where your teacher's always in your case. And I don't know if you've had this experience, but I feel like in university, you always feel like you are working in motion. Like, even after exams, I still feel like I need to study for an exam, even though I have no test. I have, like, at the end of the year, December comes, and I'm like, oh, what, I feel like I need to study, but there's nothing to study for. So you just, you need to, it's strange, but you need to learn how to relax without feeling guilty for relaxing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
yeah, you'll think constantly, what do I have to do next? Because you get just used to you get used to the routine of, okay, I've done this, what's next? Let me complete as much as I can, and you don't know where to stop. So learning how to actually put it off and say, I'm not going to deal with this now, I'll make time for it, is also a very big thing.
Definitely. And also, coupled with that, I think it also comes down to when you do take the break, because even though you need to take a break, it's also like you also need to think about your future. You can't just not think about it, because, like, we are in our 20s, and I mean, you don't want to, like, graduate university and not even know how to do your taxes. I don't know, like simple things like that you don't even think about, because, like, when you're in university, when you're in high school, I feel like you are in school, you're a child. But when you're in university, it's not just you and the work, it's you, the work, in your life, because you are, like you said, like, going into that adulthood.
Yes. And you forget about it in university because you're just focused on your work and getting your degree. And some people have degrees where, you know, something like tax won't even be a thought. Some people have sports degrees, have medical degrees, and you forget about life because you're just focusing on this degree, where there's a lot of things that come after your degree that you need to be prepared for.
Definitely. So, how do you think students can balance their university and personal life? So while they're still in university, how do you maintain that balance?
Again, timing. Timing is, I think, one of the most important things in university, and just making time to relax and to be with your family, to be with your friends, and to just stay grounded and feel like you can breathe a bit. So even if it's the weekend, you decide, okay, I'm only going to deal with my work on a Saturday or on a Sunday, but my weekend is my weekend. Just, making time, and not too much time, obviously, but making the time to see people, because it's also good for you. It's good for your mental health to see people. You can't be stuck in a room, stuck behind a desk all day, because you're just gonna get burnt out eventually. So it's good to have that. Even if you are a bit of an introvert, if it's that one person that just makes you feel better, that is maybe not in your university, that just takes you away from everything. So yeah, just making time for those people that make you feel good is a good way.
No, I definitely agree, because really taking that time is important. I feel like we've spoke a lot about mental health throughout this webinar, because it is a big part of growing up and being in university. Taking care of your mental health is so very important, because it also affects you physically.
Yes, I can definitely vouch for that. I mean, I started university without epilepsy and ended university because of not taking care of my mental health with physical health problems, because I forgot how to balance things and anxiety got to me and I wasn't looking after my mental health. And my mental health told my body, you need to shut down and stop, and I'm going to do it for you if you don't do it.
What are some tips that you'd give to students when looking for jobs, like going into the job market? What are things that they can do to appeal to these companies?
Okay, there are certain platforms that you can use to appeal to the job market. LinkedIn is one of it. Having a good profile, a good bio, just describing yourself, not too big, but really digging into your personality. There is, what's the other one? Leaply. Leaply, which is also very nice, because you can put your CV there, you can put all the documents that you need, and without having to physically email people and stuff like that, it's easier to apply. Your social media is very important, what you put out there for the world to see, because those are one of the first things that job firms or companies look at, because it's obviously the easiest way to see who you really are away from university. And also just making connections, even if it's not related to your degree. So volunteering, doing things outside of your hobbies, basically getting hobbies where you're making contacts and maybe doing extra work or something, so that you maybe have a better reference or a different reference outside of university to give people. Having a cover letter, it's the most tedious thing to have to do, but a cover letter, your motivational letters, if you can do it as soon as possible, it's much better, because when those dates start coming where you have to apply to jobs, it just seems like something that you don't want to do, because how do you explain who you are, but and why people should hire you? But when you can get help, there are websites where they give you templates for your CV, for your cover letters, stuff like that. I know my university, there are workshops that you can attend to have a better CV, to have all those things, better motivational letters, and what to say in interviews. I'm sure there are videos on YouTube as well, a lot of articles. So just being well prepared for those things, so that you don't go there and you're stuttering and you don't know what to say and you look very nervous. Also doing research about the job that you are applying for, so that you can even show them that you've taken an interest, and you can say that, oh, this is what I like about your company, this is why I want to be here. You've done this, you've done that in the past, and just staying up to date with news and stuff like that. So that is, to sum up, some of the best things that you can do to be prepared or to go into the job market.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with us today, Tyler. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.